Hi guys, and welcome back. Wasn't that a brilliant way to kick off CareerCon? But we're just going to keep this energy going because now we're about to enter a masterclass. Now, this masterclass is by the brilliant Gianna Lucas. The title is How to Be a Resilient Goal Getter, and I cannot even tell you how excited that we all are to listen to this masterclass. Before we kick off, I would love to give you just a little bit more information about Gianna because, whoa, she is remarkable and has done so much. So as I mentioned, the title of this masterclass is called How to Become a Resilient Goal Getter. And Gianna Lucas is an educator, a motivational speaker, co-founder and CEO of Herpau, which is a social enterprise on a mission to future-proof the lives of young people. Outside of Herpau, she's a life coach for young women and girls and a radio announcer on 89.9 The Light in Melbourne, Australia. Gianna is incredibly passionate about transforming the lives of young people. One reason for this is because she herself had to work through immense adversity throughout her childhood, including a chronic and debilitating anxiety disorder. Gianna's on a mission to empower youth so they feel more supported, motivated, and equipped with the tools they need to believe in their own unique potential with purpose and their goals with passion and conviction. In this How to Become a Resilient Goal Getter Masterclass, Gianna will give you a whole stack of tools to help you smash your goals. Yep, she's actually going to tell you how you can achieve your goals, honestly. You know, this session is going to be full of strategies and top tips and uplifting stories and more. And essentially, it's going to give you the clarity and confidence, to pursue your own personal values, mission, and vision. And just tying back to yesterday's masterclass on LinkedIn, this session here will be really helpful in order to nail your personal brand and work out what it is that you want to do moving forward. Just to give you guys some, housekeeping rules in regards to this session, please, as Gianna's going through, ask any of your questions in the Q&A box. And towards the end of the session, I'll be coming back and I will ask Gianna the questions live on your behalf. So without further ado, let's bring Gianna to the CareerCon stage. Hi, Gianna.
Hello. Hey, Kira, how are you?
Good. Well, welcome to CareerCon. We're so pumped to have you here. I'm going to hand the reins over to you, so feel free to introduce yourself and go ahead with the masterclass.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited to be here today, and I had a glimpse of what CareerCon was all about yesterday, and I got to watch some of the presentations and they were just phenomenal. So I really hope that my PowerPoint, my presentation masterclass is going to give you a whole lot of skills to support you in your world as you work towards your goals. Okay, so as Kira said, my name is Gianna Lucas, and this masterclass is all about becoming a resilient goal getter, and I'm going to give you a whole lot of strategies. What I encourage you to do throughout the masterclass is make notes. I'll every now and then I might pause for a moment so you can take things down, because I really feel that as this finishes and you go about your everyday life, you're actually able to implement some of the strategies that I share with you today. And also, as Kira said as well, if you have any questions for me at any time, just pop them into the chat box and I'd love to answer them at the end of the presentation. All right, let's get into it. Did you know that 92% of people who set New Year's resolutions around the world never actually achieve them? That's 92%. Now, I guarantee if I then surveyed the world's population and during COVID-19, this would be even higher. The reality is that sometimes when it comes to the start of the year and we're really, really pumped about what we want to do, where we want to go, we get really excited and we probably set some fantastic goals for ourselves, but they might be a little bit unrealistic. And so we don't recognize that at the time because we're just full of energy and positivity. And so we set all these goals out for ourselves. And then we don't realize that as the year goes on and as we finish up that year and we look back, we go, why didn't I actually achieve that goal? Now, 92% sounds a little bit dire because it's majority of people. But I like to look at the glass half full. That's just the way I am. So let's flip the switch here. Let's look at the flip side. 8% of people are actually able to achieve their goals, their New Year's resolutions. 8%. Now, what makes this 8% different to the 92% of the world's population? Because clearly they're doing something that's different to make them so unique for them to actually achieve their goals. Now, I'm really, really passionate about personal development because of the work that I do, but also because of myself and the goals that I want to achieve in my life. So I decided to go on a quest to figure out how they actually do it. What makes this 8% so different to the 92% of us? So this is what I decided to do. I looked at research that had been done in this area, and I found that there was this Harvard study done, and in the study, they were looking at how goals are created, why they're created, and how to nail them. And I loved this particular line. My goodness, it was a light bulb moment for me. It says, although goal setting improves performance, it is nevertheless a skill. One must learn how to effectively set goals. And why this was a light bulb moment for me is because sometimes we set goals and we're like, I'm going to get it, I'm going to do it, I'm going to achieve it. And that's so great to have that passion and that energy. But if we look at goal setting as a skill, then technically we've got to look at it like any other skill that we have to learn in life. And I'm sure throughout CareerCon, you've learned from amazing people that have talked about their skill set, and they've obviously, no doubt, encouraged you to build up your own skill set so it's nice and broad. So if you're interested in playing a musical instrument or learning a new skill in your career, practice makes progress. You get better and better the more you practice. So if we approach goal setting this way as something that we can get better and better at as time goes on, it can help us in the long run. So when you are setting a goal, sometimes you feel like that goal is really, really far away from you and really high up and unachievable. So imagine you are that little person at the bottom of a mountain, and around you is just Desiree. It's messy, it's dark and gloomy, and you can't even see the light between the darkness. It's all too much. And right at the top of that mountain is where you want to be. It's your goal that you would love to achieve. But because you don't know how to get there or who to go to for support, etc., you just stay stuck at the bottom and you don't know where to turn. And that is sometimes how we feel when we're actually going about goal setting, especially when trying to create a goal that we've never even thought of before, especially if it's out of our comfort zone. Usually when it comes to us feeling that anxiety and that overwhelm as we look up towards our goal and where we want to be, often there's something holding us back. And that is why we feel overwhelmed and we're unsure and we feel stuck. And often when I talk to people, they say to me it's their fear that actually is the thing that is holding them back, which causes that stress and that anxiety and prevents them from moving forward. So this is the good news. Again, glass half full moment. I truly believe that you know exactly what you need to do to get to where you want to be. I truly believe that. The reason why I believe that is because our mind is so powerful, and sometimes we don't give it the credit it deserves. Think about our subconscious. Just you getting here today. I mean, it is now 10:10 a.m. in the morning. Your brain has done so many things even before this moment today, some of which you didn't even realize you were doing. It's just on autopilot. So if our brain can do that, what stuff have we untapped in our mind that we can do? And this is why I get so excited, because I believe that you do have the potential and you know what you need to do. There's this amazing man. He's an American. You might know of him. His name is Tony Robbins, and he is a speaker, business coach, entrepreneur. He runs a lot of companies, some of the biggest in the world, and he travels all around the world, obviously not during COVID, but he normally travels the world running these huge conferences to empower people. He's an amazing man. And last year I got to hear him speak, and it was a real dream come true because I've looked up to Tony Robbins for a really long time. Now, Tony has said some amazing things throughout his, 40 years in this business. But something that I feel resonates when it comes to goal setting is this quote, and I'll read it to you. Most people will overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can achieve in a decade. Now, if we're thinking about New Year's resolutions right now, if we're putting this into practice, we are probably at the start of the year, or when we're setting goals throughout the year, we're overestimating what we can do in 365 days in 1 year. But when it comes to our long-term goals in the next 2, 5, 10 years, we underestimate how far we can actually go. Now, maybe it's because of imposter syndrome. Maybe it's because we feel like, oh, this person has done such extraordinary things. How could I possibly measure up to them? Well, everybody starts somewhere. And so I want to encourage you to say it's all about the small steps we take now that pays off in the long run. Taking each day as it comes, step by step. So you still think about your big goals that you want to achieve, but you break it down into bite-sized chunks that are actually more achievable. So that's how that works. Now, talking about holistically how to do this, like Kira was saying, this masterclass is going to give you the tools and strategies for you to achieve your goals. Now, I made it my mission to find out what formulas work, and I've made it my own, and I'm really excited to be supporting you in this space today. So there's 3 parts to this to nail your goals and become a resilient goal getter, one that can push through difficult times to achieve their goals. Number 1, you have to align your purpose and your goals together, right? Number 2, you got to be courageous, because you could then know what you want to do with your goals, but if you're not willing to step out of your comfort zone, then that's going to be a bit of a challenge. And then the third part to this is taking action. So once you align your purpose and goals, you decide to be courageous and make those steps to move forward out of your comfort zone, and then you got to take action. And once you take action, that is the last step and one of the biggest ones you'll ever take. So we're going to unpack each of these 3 parts today. Part 1, aligning your purpose and your goals. Alrighty, so think about your passions right now. Now, for every one of us in this masterclass that's watching, we are all going to have different passions. Some may be the same, but I'd probably say we're all very unique and we'll have different interests. These are the things that you love doing and would do for free. You'd volunteer your time to do it because you love it so much. And I'm sure that you've already can list right now a couple of things that you love to do. And it doesn't matter if it's related to your career or other things in your personal life. These are just things that you love. They're your passions. Then you have your values. These are things that you really, really care about. The stuff that's, really lights you up, right? And it's the things that are meaningful to you. And this year alone, we've had so many opportunities for us to step up and represent and be really proud of some things in the community because we care about them. Again, this is individual for you. And then thirdly, it's all about your vision, what you want for your future, right? This is the big stuff, the big picture stuff. Like I was talking to you about before with Tony Robbins saying that we underestimate what we can do in a decade. This vision relates to that. Where do you see yourself in the long run? That's what your vision is. So one great thing I recommend you do is write down on a piece of paper and a notebook on your desktop. You don't have to do it now. And feel free to take a screenshot of this page or write it down, because there's such power in creating this document. Write down all your passions, your things that you love to do. Then once you've done that, in another column, I want you to put in your values, the things that you care about. And in the third column, I want you to write down your vision for your future. Now, your vision could have a couple of items. It could be a whole lot of stuff you want for your future. Write all that down in those 3 columns. And at the bottom, I want you to look at all these parts to your life that make up your world, make up who you are. And you will realize once they're all combined that your why will pop up, your purpose. It's the thing that you do. It's the thing that you want for your world. It's the thing that you want for your future. It's the reason why you do what you do. It's the reason why you have your passions, your values, and your vision in the first place. And sometimes when we look at purpose, we see it as a really big thing, and we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to figure out our purpose in this world or what we're meant to be doing. And I think that this really simplifies it. So essentially, it's just things that you love to do, the things you're passionate about, and your vision combined. And the reason why I say here, if you have no purpose, you have no plan, The reason why I say that is because if you don't actually know why you're doing something, if you don't know why you have a particular goal in your heart, then how can you plan it properly without knowing why you're doing it? And I'll come back to that a little bit later, but it's really, really important that you understand that. So moral of the story is nail your purpose. Got it? Great. All right. Part 2 is all about being courageous. This is a big one. There is an amazing Australian woman, you might know of her. Her name is Melissa Ambrosini. She is a speaker, an entrepreneur, author of a book, actually quite a number of books, but one of them is called Mastering Your Mean Girl. And in fact, I have it right here. It came out in 2016. And I remember reading this book as soon as it came out. And my goodness, it is amazing. I highly recommend you give it a read. Really, really empowering. Now, what I love in this particular book is she coins that negative talk in our heads, the voice that says, you know, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have the ability to do that, you're not like that person. She coins that as a mean girl, that voice in our head that it really is a mean girl, which means they're the bully. She calls it the bully. And what I've learned is that that voice is not us. I know, a bit of a light bulb moment. Imagine that voice inside your head telling you you're not good enough or smart enough to do something isn't you speaking. Now think about a bully in your world. Now it could be anybody, right? Think about someone who might have hurt you. When they hurt you, that could still cut deep, right? But you recognize, oh, that person doesn't know me. They don't know who I really am. Well, go about the negative self-talk in our head the same way. If we're able to understand that it's not us speaking, we're able to remove ourselves a little more from the situation, from those words, so that we can be in more control of them rather than get the better of us, because that is the first stage of change. It's really, really powerful to know that, and encouraging to know in many ways, because guess what? When you listen to Spotify, when you listen to a podcast, when you listen to music in Apple Podcasts, Apple Music, whatever you use, or if you listen to the good old radio, when you don't like something, you don't like a song in a playlist, or you don't like what you're hearing, what do? You change it. You change the dial, you flick the switch, you change it to something you want to hear. What if we approached our mind in the exact same way? What if we decided to actually go, you know what? I'm going to be more aware of my self-talk right now so I can create change in my world. Because we can easily do it when it comes to music and podcasts and radio. But how about our own mind? Now, just like goal setting, it's a skill. It's not something you're going to be nailing straight away. For me, in my own life, it has taken practice and you make progress. But as soon as you're able to understand this, it can really change your world, especially when it comes to goal setting. So once you've been able to articulate your self-talk and what it's saying, let's do a risk assessment. So let's think about the worst case scenario versus the best case scenario. All right, this is how you do a worst case scenario evaluation. Number one, you've got to listen to your self-talk, and we've already discussed that a little bit. So think about what your voice is saying to you. What are your thoughts going on in your mind? Especially when it comes to goal setting, is that voice saying you can't do it? Number two, you've got to recognize the truth. You actually got to understand, is this just fear and anxiety speaking to me? The fear of unknown? Or is this actually something I should be wary of? And so if we recognize it as being fear and we know it's not true, then why don't we step out with courage? And the reason I put a question mark there is this is a decision that you have to make. No one can make it for you. I can sit here like I am right now doing this presentation and I can encourage you to step out with courage. In the end, it's your choice. You have to make that decision for yourself. So when it comes to doing the best case scenario evaluation, this is where I get excited. Again, the glass half full moment. What are the potential positive things that can happen by you stepping out of your comfort zone? And I guarantee there are going to be way, way more things to get excited about by stepping out of your comfort zone than staying inside your comfort zone. That is just the way it is. But sometimes our self-talk, and as we're doing that worst case scenario evaluation, we focus on the negative things and we blow them out so big that they become massive and they outweigh the positive things. Though the positive things are actually the things that should outweigh the negative, because there's always so much more to gain by stepping out of your comfort zone. There is this amazing Australian woman. I know I'm talking about a few Aussies here, but we've got some great Aussies here in Australia. This wonderful lady is called Bronnie Ware. Now, Bronnie Ware is a motivational speaker, and she's written a couple of books, including the author of The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Now, Bronnie Ware, before she decided to be a motivational speaker and an author, she was actually a palliative care nurse. And what's really makes me really emotional is what this woman had to deal with every single day for all the years of palliative care nurse. Now, if you don't know what a palliative care nurse, they're nurses that work with those that are on their last legs, that are in hospital and they're dying. And her job is to give them respite and to support them in that time. And often they're in hospital or nursing homes. And it's really, really tough. She's an amazing woman. And she found in all the years of her working, time and time again, when she would sit with these people, they would always have the same regret. And this is it. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life that others expected of me. Now, in your world, you might have some great dreams. And sometimes we're too scared to even go for them, not just because of our own personal fears, but the fears of others around us. And they might be really well-intentional. They might really they love us, and they like our parents or our guardians or our friends, and they want the best for us. And because of their own fears, they put that on us, and that prevents us from doing what we really love in our life. And Bronnie's decided to spread this word to say, hey, don't have that regret. Have the courage to do what you love, because you don't want to get to your deathbed and realize, I wish I had. So I ask you today, are you going through the motions in life, or are you showing up like you want to be there? It's a really powerful question. Now, the reality is, a great reality, is that you're here at CareerCon. You're sitting here listening to me doing this masterclass. And I can tell you straight away, you are showing up like you want to be there. You're showing up to life like you are excited about what's to come. And I applaud you for doing that. I congratulate you for doing that. That is an amazing thing right now. I'm so excited for you. But as you go about your everyday, think about it. Now, your best changes every single day. Today, you might be feeling, I'm going to nail life. I'm excited. Tomorrow, you might feel a little bit flat. That is normal. We all go through our peaks and troughs, and we've got to really understand that our best changes every day. But as long as we do our best, whatever our best looks like, that is the number one thing. So think about that when you're going about your everyday life. Check in with your self-talk. How are you feeling? One of the things that can really, really help you in your world as you try to create goals for yourself and make them a reality is practicing gratitude. I cannot tell you how powerful this tool is. Practicing gratitude is a simple task. It literally is a moment in your world where you every day take a time to actually say thank you for life's little things. They don't have to be big things. It's just about acknowledging the stuff in your world that often you would dismiss as being stupid or irrelevant, but acknowledge them as being something awesome. Because when you practice gratitude, especially on a daily basis, it changes your world. I have been practicing gratitude on a daily basis for, I reckon, 3-4 years now, a really long time. And I've become better and better at the skill. And why I'm calling it a skill is because just like goal setting, just like understanding your self-talk, this takes practice as well. Because you're rewiring your brain to focus on something different. You're making the brain focus on the positive things, the things that we often take for granted. Now, it's been proven time and time again, also by Harvard University, as one example, that practicing gratitude for 3 weeks every day, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, and it could be anything. It could be the fact that you got to watch your favorite show on Netflix, you got to have a super awesome smoothie that set your day right. It could be that you had you got to chat with your mates on, and create super cool videos on TikTok. That could be it. That could be the 3 things in one day that you're thankful for. And if you do that every single day for 3 weeks, it starts to change the way you look at your world. And if you practice it for another 3 weeks, so now 6 weeks in total, your whole body, your well-being starts to change. You actually tend to get through things better. You become physically stronger because of your mind. Again, like I said at the start of this masterclass, we don't give our brain enough credit. It is amazing what happens when we practice gratitude. So I implore you to do this. It can really change your world. Now, part 3 is all about taking action. Oh, this is the best bit. Okay. Don't know if you've heard of this woman, but she's an amazing American, not an Aussie, an American this time. She is a motivational speaker, TV host. She's a TEDx speaker, TED talker. She's also the author of the 5-second rule. And she actually did a talk on this, which I believe that you can watch on YouTube. It is amazing. Now, if you're wondering what the 5-second rule is, essentially, in the simplest form, our brain takes in 5 seconds. We need 5 seconds to make a decision before our brain starts to tell us, nah, let's not do that. So in 5 seconds, we actually have the ability, when we've got an idea in our head, we can take action within 5 seconds before the brain starts telling us, not interested. That is powerful stuff. That is how it works. The brain works like that. So I'll repeat, we have 5 seconds to make action, to take action in something, whether it be big or small, before our self-talk comes in and says, not interested. Amazing, right? So she coined it the 5-second rule. She was talking about the fact that in life we have these goals that we want to achieve, but we always say to ourselves, oh, I just don't have the time, or I just can't. And she goes, you know what? You actually can. You can make a choice and decide to take massive action in your world if you want to. You just got to do it in 5 seconds. So I'll give you a really good example. Now, this is a school. Imagine right now, and I know your world is a little bit different if you're in Melbourne like me or in Victoria, and school at the moment is offline. So it's online and not in person. University, the same thing. In Melbourne, it's actually online. But in all other states, still schools are open. Now, I want you to think about something right now. Even if you're not a high school student or a university student, you're in your career, imagine, you can close your eyes if you want, imagine that the morning has just started, it's 7 o'clock in the morning, and your alarm has gone off, okay? Imagine your alarm has gone off. What do? Do you press snooze and be like, oh, I'll just sleep in for another 10 minutes until it rings again? Or are you the person that likes to get out of bed? Now, I can put up my hand and say, I press snooze sometimes. We're all guilty of it. None of us are perfect here. But I'd love to encourage you to implement Mel Robbins' 5-second rule. This is the challenge I'd love to set for you. When you get up in the morning, you set your alarm the night before, it goes off that day. When it goes off, in your head, do this. Count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And as soon as you hit 1, I want you to open up your quilt on your bed and I want you to get out of bed. Because if you don't do that at that point, you're probably going to press snooze and stay in bed. And if you're able to get out of bed in that moment, I've got some great news for you. Do you know what? If you do that every single day for 5 days straight, now my maths isn't that great here, but I'm pretty sure 5 by 10 is 50. Is that right? Oh my goodness. I don't know. Let's just say 50 minutes. Yeah, it's 50. Oh my goodness, how embarrassing. You're probably laughing at me right now. It's okay. I understand. All right, you got 50 minutes. You've just gained 50 minutes in your day by getting up when your alarm goes off Monday to Friday. That is 10 extra minutes a day, right? That is amazing stuff. What if you tend to press snooze twice on your alarm? That's 20 minutes lost. So if you get up, you've saved yourself 20 minutes, which you can then add to your day, and it can help you start your day earlier and you can work towards your goals. Cool stuff, right? So moral of the story is be a self-starter. Don't just be interested, take action. I meet people in my life over the years that say, I really want to do this thing. I want to start this business. I want to start this side hustle. I want to get into this course. And they say, I wanna. But do they actually do it? Do they put these steps into place to make it happen? Now, I'm going to be sharing with you my top tips towards the end of this masterclass, which are going to help you nail your goals. And I can't wait to show you those. But before I do, I want to share a little bit about my story. The reason why I'm so passionate about this topic is because I myself had to work through a lot of stuff in my world, even when I was a little girl. But before I get to that, I want to share this quote with you. Action is the antidote to fear. Action is the antidote to fear. I'm living proof of that, and I'll explain why in a sec. But in order for your fear that is preventing you from achieving your goals because it's all so gloomy and it seems too hard, that fear becomes less and less and less effective, less and less big. It becomes smaller and smaller and smaller the more you take action, because suddenly that fear is outweighed by positive thoughts, because you're proving to yourself that that fear wasn't something you should have even thought about in the first place. Now, a little bit about my story. When I was in prep, my first day of primary school, I was in the car with my mum going to school. Now, I remember this day like it was yesterday, although it was many, many, many years ago. I went to Australia's, actually, the biggest primary school, both in landmass and the number of students in the Southern Hemisphere. I went to a huge primary school. It was very rare to have such big primary schools like that. In fact, I still believe today they're the biggest primary school in the Southern Hemisphere. And I didn't have any siblings, but I came from a big Australian family that was huge, and I was very, very close with my cousins, and I'd see them a lot. Now, to my family and to my very close friends that I had great, strong relationships with, I was this bubbly, positive little Miss Chatterbox. Literally, I even got a T-shirt of Little Miss Chatterbox when I was younger. But to people who didn't know me, to other people in my school, my teachers, anyone like that, they saw a different side to me. You see, I had a debilitating and chronic anxiety disorder. And when I was in grade prep, that's when things really came to the forefront, because I had to end up stopping on the side of the road. And as I was going to school, I vomited because I was just so nauseous. Felt so sick inside that the only way I could actually get rid of my nausea was to vomit. And that's the way I dealt with it as a child. And it wasn't just a one-off thing. From prep all the way to the start of grade 6, I would have this nausea. And it was really, really challenging, really challenging. I was seeing clinical psychologists, I was seeing school counselors, and despite all of that heartache that it caused my parents, the most beautiful people on the planet, but despite all of that, I always felt in my heart that I would one day be able to control a little bit more my anxiety so it didn't get so out of hand. Because I had big dreams, I had big goals, even as a little girl. I loved music, I loved performing, I loved presenting, I loved being with people and speaking with people. And even from a young age, I knew that the only way for me to actually pursue my dreams is by me working through myself, understanding my mind, making sense of who I am and why I'm so fearful of the unknown, fearful of being around people I didn't know, fearful of public spaces like shopping centres. Now, when I was 8 years old, I entered into a talent show at my local shopping centre. And I remember preparing my song. It was a ballad from Celine Dion. It was called My Heart Will Go On. And I remember practicing and practicing and practicing. I was so proud of what I had done. And it came to the day and they called my name on the side of the stage. And the judges said to me, Gianna, come to the stage now, come up on stage. And I started getting sick, like a whole lot of nausea again in my tummy. And I knew, I was like, oh no, I'm going to vomit, aren't I? And my mum was with me and I quickly ran to the bathroom and I vomited. I remember looking into the mirror, and the mirror for me has been a really super powerful tool to be able to acknowledge who I am and to be able to, put positive self-talk in my mind. And at the time I didn't know it, but these are essentially words of affirmation. It's affirming words to tell me that I'm strong, I'm good enough, I can do this. But at the time I didn't know that's what it was. So I would look into the mirror and I'd say, Gianna, you can do this. Just show up. Just show up. Because I didn't want to be defeated. I didn't want this hurdle to prevent me from living a life I really, really wanted. And so we spoke to the judges and they said, could I still go? So not the judges, the organizer. I said, could I go on stage? And they said, sure thing. And I said, I'm not able to sing, but I can mime. I know every line of the song, and being a talent show, you can do anything. So I got up on stage and I knew every line. So I mimed with Celine Dion's voice above me, but I acted out every single line. I used that stage. I moved around and I was so proud of myself that I showed up. And I ended up winning the talent quest, which is amazing. But that is not what I want to share with you today. I want to share with you this, the fact that I showed up. Did I show up the way I thought I was going to show up? No. But did I decide to stay away and not actually move forward? No, I decided to take a chance. I decided to prove to myself that I was stronger than my mind was telling me. So when I was 14 years old, I ended up getting into an Australian band. I won a recording contract and I was a part of a band called Charms with a Z at the end. And it was an amazing experience in my life. It was a part of Mattel, who run Barbie and Shock Records, and it was honestly amazing. But despite all the travel and creating an album and a single and all that sort of stuff and all the shows that we did, the one thing that I still to this day remember like it was yesterday was our very first performance, and it was at a shopping centre, believe it or not. And I remember being called to the stage, and this, where we performed, was actually at the biggest shopping centre in the Southern Hemisphere. And so if you're in Victoria, you probably know it. Even in Australia, you might know it as well. It's called Chatston. It's huge. It's in Melbourne, a massive shopping centre. So we performed in there. And I remember when they called me to stage, they called my name. Instead of having nausea, I had butterflies. I was so excited to go on stage. And I remember, it still makes me emotional today, you see. I remember looking at my younger self, literally having a visual of young Gianna in primary school, who had all these goals and dreams. And I remember just looking up to the sky. Though there was a ceiling, I imagined I was looking up to the sky, and I just said thank you. And I was just like, oh, we can do so much that we put our mind to if we believe, if we're able to not give up and just give things a go. It's amazing what we can do in our life. So out of Charms, I decided I wanted to be a force for good. I wanted to help young women and youth in general to be their best selves, especially those that have experienced anxiety. And so I decided to pursue a career in media, and I worked as a volunteer in year 12 at a local radio station near my home. I decided to do a course as part of my year 12 as well, called Radio Industries Media Broadcasting or something like that. And it was a certificate 3 that was a part of my year 12 studies. And that was fantastic to do. And I knew in my heart I loved radio, I loved presenting, and I thought that was a good way into the media industry. And so I worked my way in that space. And long story short, that is still something I do today. But through my passion and sharing my story, I've been able to now do the one thing that I feared the most when I was younger. I get to be on stage and share my story. I get to empower young people and families and just individuals on radio. I get to do all these things because I didn't give up. And it's amazing to think that my number one fear was the thing I wanted most in my life. I want to be able to be a presenter. I wanted to be able to be a force for good. I want to be able to use the gifts that I've been given and my passions, and I want to combine them all, just like I've shared with you today, aligning your passions with your values and your vision. I have done just that. I could have given up time and time again, and no, life is not simple for me even now as an adult, but I decide to keep going because there's such power in that, and I encourage you to do the same. So I'm going to share with you now some steps to help you achieve your goals. And I highly suggest that you write these steps down, because this is a game changer. This is stuff I do myself and I teach in my coaching and everything. All right. Number one, when you are setting a goal for yourself, make sure it's specific and challenging, but not too hard. But also don't be too vague, okay? So think about the very start of this masterclass. I said to you this, I said 92% of the world's population that set goals do not achieve them, but 8% do. I could almost guarantee if I surveyed them right now, they would say that their goal wasn't specific, it probably was really challenging, and it was super vague. So for example, in the case of me, and if I'm using myself as an example, I have always wanted to start my own media company for young people, right? Now, if I say I want to start a media company for young people, I'm kind of being specific. I mean, it's probably a little bit challenging, but because I'm a little bit vague with my response, I'm vague with what my goal is. How am I going to be able to know if I've achieved a media company? How do I know how many people I'm going to impact? How do I know how long it's going to take for me to get there? So it's not a specific goal. I haven't timestamped it or anything like that. So number two, you've got to actually write down your goal, and you got to put it somewhere you frequent. Now think about this. Your goal, right, could also come in the form of a vision board when you're writing it down. You don't actually have to write down your goal, but put it on paper somehow, somewhere you actually see. Now, in your home, this could be in your bedroom, it could be in your bathroom on the mirror, it could be in a journal, it could be in your diary if you have an old school diary, whatever. But put it somewhere, even if you drive in your car, on your, near your dash or something like that. You want to put it somewhere that is top of mind, because when it's top of mind, you're prompted to remember to work towards that goal, right? Because if it's not top of mind, you're going to forget about it. And then all the other things that we do in our life will come into play, and we'll never actually achieve it because it doesn't take precedence anymore. But if it's top of mind, it's top on our radar. All right, so that's what I'd say. The next really, really important step is creating a time management log for 1 week. Now, the reason why I get you to do this is for a super important reason. Often I find when I speak with people, when I coach people, they always say to me, I just don't have any time to achieve my goal. I don't have any time in my day. My day is full. My weeks are full. Even if they're in high school, they say that, right? And I know that, these days there is a lot of things that grab our attention, from social media to, our friends and family that need us. I mean, COVID-19 has been a massive thing for our mind to deal with. It has made us feel a lot more emotional. It's really opened us up to a whole lot of feelings, right? So we can feel overwhelmed sometimes, and we might be getting distracted really easily. So if you create a time management log, right, for 1 week, and if you want to do it longer, you can, you're able to see how you manage your time. You can see how you plan out your days. And if you're finding that you're actually spending a lot more time on something like social media than you expected, then you can take action in that space and put like little, I know you could do this on your phone where you can set little notifications so it bars you from going into that app. Again, this is about you being disciplined. I can tell you what to do, but in the end, it's your choice on how you want to do it, because you might actually find you've got a lot more room to play with than you first expected. So number 4 is about writing a resource review. Now, a resource review is literally where you review everything in your world right now that can help you achieve your goals. This doesn't actually have to be people necessarily, and they definitely can be. They could be people that you see on LinkedIn. They could be people that you know personally, whether it be a mentor or a teacher or a friend or someone that you like, a lecturer at uni or whatever it might be, that might be a great person to support you. But also it could be in the form of videos that you could find on YouTube. It could be courses that you can do, whether they be free or paid. It could be podcasts that you can listen to that have a whole lot of information in it. It could be things like CareerCon and events like that that can help empower you. It could be anything. It could be movies that you watch, any kind of resource to help you achieve your goal. Because another thing I often find is that people say, oh, you knew people that allowed you to get to where you need to be. And I say, no, that is not the case. I had to start from scratch, and I had to network. I had to really work on myself. I had to do courses. I had to put myself out there. And I literally put a review together where I got to see everyone in my circle, everything that I could access to help me move forward towards my goals. It is a powerful tool. And if there's one thing that you do, I would say this would be it, because it's really encouraging to know that we actually have a lot at our disposal that we just never thought we had. Number 5 is create an action plan. So you've got to really think about this, because there is no point in having these amazing goals if you don't put a plan in place. Otherwise, they're just goals and you don't know what to do with them. Now, when you create an action plan, there's the SMART goal system, which is, and I know there's slightly different variations on the word SMART as an acronym, but I say SMART, measurable, SMART, measurable, attainable. Then you've got, oh my goodness, my mind has just left me, but you've got realistic, and then you've got time stamped. There we go. I got there in the end. Just Google SMART acronym and little SMART goals, and they'll come up on Google. Again, there's various versions of it, but essentially it's about you setting goals that meet this criteria, putting a plan in place that meets this criteria. Because again, it's important to make sure that the goals that you set for yourself are able to be achieved by you setting parameters around them that are attainable. So if they're measurable, then you know that the goal is, you'll know that you've achieved that goal because you put this action in place, because you've set this goal to say, hey, I want to start a media company for youth. So I know that I've done that once I set up the social media pages, once I've got my website up, and once I've started creating content, say a podcast. Once I've done that and I've launched those, then I know that that is a measurable tool that I can use to say, yes, I've been able to meet that step in my goal. That's what I mean by creating an action plan that works. Number 6, remain passionate and committed to achieving your goal. No matter what your goal is, big or small, something you want to achieve in the next month or the next year or 10 years, you need to be passionate. And the reason why you need to be passionate is because there will be tough days. There will be tough seasons. COVID-19, is just one example of something that can be thrown at you that you never thought you would experience, and yet you've got to keep going. You've got to make it work, right? And in those tough seasons, the only thing that's going to get you through when you want to give up is your passion. It's your passion, and it's your values, and it's your vision, it's your purpose, your why. The thing I spoke about before, your why is what's going to help you stay committed. Because when everything else is going downhill, that is going to allow you to still rise up when a challenge happens. Number 7, tell people you trust about your goal. Be accountable. Oh, this is so important. I can tell you I do this in my own world, with my own network of people I work with friends. I now tell people about my goals, and I tell them proudly. I say to them, hey, I'm working on this. The reason why I tell them is not to brag. It's not to go, oh, look at me, I want to do this. No. When you tell people you trust and that you appreciate and love you and they want to be your cheerleader, suddenly you are accountable. Why? Because they know about your goal. It's almost like you're not just doing it for yourself, you're doing it for them because you want to make them happy. You want them to be proud of you. So suddenly they can also be used as a mentor, checking in with you every fortnight, every month. You can tell them that, hey, I'm going to tell you my goal, but can you pencil in your calendar? Can you reach out to me once a month and just check in to see how I'm going with my steps? Because then they can say, hey, Gianna, how you going? Have you done that? Oops, no. Oh, come on, you can do it. Let's support you in this space. So, massive thing you can do. Number 8, stay focused and track your progress. Again, a really powerful thing you can do. Why? Because sometimes we get so hung up on the end of that goal once we've achieved it that we forget how far we've come. We don't track how far we've come. We don't track our progress. We don't acknowledge it. Track your progress. Keep a journal. I keep a journal, right? Now, this is one I just finished. You can tell I wasn't prepared to show you this, but this is my journal, right? I keep all different ones, and I've just finished this one here. I write down my progress on how I'm going with my goals. It makes me so happy to write it down, especially when I've achieved something, and also a wonderful thing to look back on and see how far you've come. And not only that, when you put these trackers in place, I want you to also give yourself something to look forward to once you've achieved that step, once you've reached that checkpoint. It could be anything, but reward yourself. Be proud of yourself that you're making another step closer to a goal. Number 9, take it one step at a time. Sometimes we can get really overwhelmed, but I encourage you to take it one step at a time, because before you know it, you're going to achieve your goal. Now, have a look at this. This image I showed you much earlier on in the masterclass. Imagine that's at the bottom of the mountain. And originally, everything seemed so complicated, too overwhelming, too hard. That mountain, that dream you want to achieve is just too far away to fathom. But by putting these practices into place, suddenly there's more clarity. Suddenly it's not so dark, it's light. You still know that that goal might be far away, but you're getting closer and closer and closer to it. Isn't that amazing? And guess what? Before you know it, you've achieved it. You've made that goal a reality. And isn't that something to celebrate? We all have the ability, I said that at the start, we all have the ability to achieve our goals. It's up to us if we want to actually action it. As I spoke before about a media company, and Kira alluded to it as well, I'm so excited to say that on Monday, one of my biggest goals of my life is being achieved. And it makes me really emotional. But I've always wanted to start up a social enterprise, a media company for young people. I've always wanted to do it. And on this Monday coming, the 14th, our herpau.com site goes live. And we've been posting on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, but this has become a reality. And I'm so glad that I get to share this masterclass with you now, because you get to see me in my rawest moment talking about something that I love, that I finally get to pursue. And it's been a hard road just to get it to launch phase, a huge road. I could have thrown in the towel so many times, but we're there. And I want to encourage you to head to our Instagram, to follow us, to be a part of Herpau, because we don't exist without you. You'll find and learn so many things. And it's a free platform. That's the other thing too. I wanted it to be 100% free for young people that can be accessed at any time of the day, with video masterclasses, with podcasts and blogs and so much more. And if you would love to work with me, I also gave you a flyer in your virtual bag where you can do an 8-week course that I've put together as well. And I've given you a special discount as being CareerCon. And if you'd love to do it, it's a self-paced 8-week course that can help you achieve your goals, but just your overall well-being, every aspect of your life, to help you build resilience within you and confidence. So you could do that as well. And last but not least, if you'd love to reach out to me, my email is right there, hello@giannalucas.com. I'd love to speak with you, have a chat with you. I want to thank you so much for having me. I'd love to thank you for showing up today and being a part of this masterclass. I really hope that you've learned at least one thing that you can take into your world today as you work towards your goals, as you work towards your career, your future career, whatever it might be. And I want to thank Kira as well for having me. It's been an absolute treat. So thanks, Kira.
You're welcome, Gianna. That was incredible. What a fast and furious masterclass on, we've had, the chat box and the Q&A box has been, lit up, which is awesome. But unfortunately, we've only got a time for a couple of questions. So let's just dive into them, okay?
Okay, yeah, let's go.
Okay, we've got a question from Geordie, who has said, how do you pick yourself up, not allow yourself to be down if you aren't able to achieve a goal when you set out to? Oh, goody.
Such a good question, Geordie. You know how I was talking a little bit before about your passion? My goodness, that is your superpower right there. Because when you don't achieve your goal, it can be really, really deflating, right? It could be agonizing. But I want to give you some hope right now, Geordie. I want to say that just because you didn't achieve that goal does not mean in any way that your next goal is not going to be achieved. That's a fallacy right there. I want you to be encouraged to know that every time we don't achieve something, we're learning a lesson in that moment. There is something to be gained in everything that we do, whether we do well at it or not so well. So know that, write down some of the stuff that you learned in that moment and then put that to use when you go to your next goal. That would be my quickest response.
Oh, awesome. Great one, Gianna. Okay, so the next question is from Anonymous, and it's, how do I cultivate the abundance mindset? I realize I have the scarcity mindset, which stops me from achieving many of my goals. Oh, that's a good one.
That is a good one. Okay, scarcity mindset. That is so big. Okay, what I want you to realize is that sometimes scarcity mindset comes from imposter syndrome. It's the fact that we feel like we don't, as ourselves, have the ability to do something awesome, right? We don't have that ability. But I want to encourage you to say this, that you actually have the ability. When we look at other people that have done really cool stuff, we forget to see the long road it took to get there, all the trials and tribulations and hurdles. So we look at them as being the epitome of greatness, and we feel like we don't measure up to that. So when thinking about scarcity mindset, you've got to look at the abundance mindset and go, okay, let's forget right now what this person has done. Let's focus on what we have done so far. If you have write down everything you've achieved in your world, do that. Look at it and go, right, let's write down all the things I'm great at. Do that. Then what I want you to do is I want you to put up these words on somewhere that you can actually see to remind yourself of your skills, your ability, and say these as affirmations to yourself. It can change your world. It's a practice. Again, it's a skill that we have to learn, but it can do great things. And I encourage you, even on your tougher days when you don't think about abundance and you think more scarcity mindset, to know that you have a great future ahead of you, and you've got to believe it. Like, even if you don't know what the future holds, none of us do. I don't even know what my media company is going to do once it launches. But it's about being excited about the future and acknowledging what good can come from it rather than being fearful of that.
Whoa, that was awesome. Thank you. And one of the last questions. Now, I just want to let everyone know that if you've asked Gianna a Q&A in this box and we don't actually get to you, make sure that you do reach out to her. She's very happy to answer any of your questions. She's fabulous at this. So, please do reach out if you have any questions for her. But the last one that I wanted to, because I love this question, Gianna. So, I think my goals are based on what society and my family wants me to do. How do I work out what it is that I really want? Oh, I love that question.
Oh, that is such a great question. Okay. You probably you'll know straight away that your goals are based on your family and friends is usually when they put a bit of pressure on you, but not in a, how are you going? It's more of a, how's this coming along type of vibe. You know when it's put on you, when it doesn't make you feel good on the inside. If you think about the goal, if it doesn't make you feel good, if it doesn't give you little butterflies on the inside, if it doesn't get you excited, it's probably not a goal that you really want. Now, another great thing to know if it's a goal that you want or a goal that others want for you is by doing this as well. Close your eyes and imagine your future. Can you see yourself an older version of yourself and where you want to be? Can you see yourself achieving that goal? And if you can't see yourself achieving that goal, I would probably say to you that it's not for you, because if you don't have any passion, if you can't see it in your vision and it doesn't align with your values, like I spoke about in the masterclass, then your why isn't apparent. It doesn't exist. And therefore, you're not probably going to be able to achieve it in the way you want to. Maybe you could achieve it, but it may not fulfill you. Because in the end, fulfillment is what it comes down to. If it doesn't lift up your cup, then I wouldn't pursue it. And I would have these heart-to-heart conversations with your family and your friends to say, hey, I know you want the best for me, but this might not be the best thing for me, even though you see it is. I don't. And it's about being honest with that.
What a perfect ending. Thank you. Thank you so much, Gianna. That was awesome. Got a platform, a pad full of notes down here beside of me, and I'm sure that most of the guys at home have as well. So thank you so much for being a part of CareerCon, and thanks for sharing the details about where we can reach you further if we've got any questions.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, so excited. Thank you for coming. Have a good
That's all right.
afternoon.
You too. All the best for CareerCon. Bye.